You're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN. Hey, what's good? My name is Peaks and you're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast show. I'm joined with
Mr. X. Was good.
Okay, I hope everybody's blessed today. Whatever's going on, I hope you're not stressed. It's all good. So the reason for this podcast is to raise the spirits and have a diversity of young voices that are currently not being heard. This is your platform to come and share your needs, your experiences, uplift somebody, share your stories, whatever is going on. So on this podcast show, we're going to be speaking to a variety of people. We're going to be speaking to students, creative arts people, if you're in employment, if you're still looking to have employment, if you're unemployed or you're seeking it, whatever it is, you're a young parent, you're into music, entrepreneur, whatever it is, these are the places to come and share your stories, your experiences, and hopefully with doing that, you're going to uplift and inspire somebody else to keep going, because we know it's kind of tough times right now for a lot of people during this pandemic, this lockdown, there's a lot going on, so this is the platform to kind of share stories with that. And having said that, we are going to be joined on today's show with Candace. She's from South London in Lewisham and she is a barber. She's 21 and she's going to share her stories with us. So are you there, Candace?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, lovely stuff. So how are you today?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, not bad. Got a bit of sunshine. I'm joined here as well.
Hello, Candaces, Mr.
Right
X.
here it's kind of grey and rainy compared to how it's been for the whole of lockdown.
All right, sorry.
I just got interrupted there as I was saying my hellos.
Mr. X wants to say hello.
No.
That's okay. How are you doing?
No, I'm fine. How you, miss? You all right?
I'm good. I was doing well when it was funny, but I'm doing okay today.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, what was that you were saying about the weather?
And so for the whole lockdown, it's been sunny and I've been enjoying it. But now it's grey. It's like, oh, okay. Well, this is what we're working with.
Saying that's it. It's
Sun always makes it feel better, innit? It always makes the situation
Of course,
much
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just give us a little bit of a briefer about who you are, what it is that you're doing. So I said you're from Lewisham, you're a barber. So if you can give us a little bit of history about yourself and what's kind of happening right up until this kind of lockdown happened.
So I graduated from uni last summer. I studied international relations, and from there I went straight into barbering full time. Just before that, I'd done like a short course, and I had started working part time at a barbershop in Vauxhall. So I graduated, I started working full time, and I got into barbering kind of by accident. I used to have short hair myself, and then I used to hear a lot of bold girls and women talking about how awkward they found it going to the barbershop, or how uncomfortable. So I started, when I kept hearing similar stories, I guess it kind of planted the seed. And then I came across a barbering course, and I thought, okay, why not? I'll go for it. Tried it out. I quite liked it. And then I guess one thing led to another, and it ended up being my full-time job. So that's kind of where I was at. And then obviously with lockdown, because my kind of job, you can't really do it from home without ignoring social distancing rules. So I haven't been working while this has been happening.
If you don't mind me asking, what's your kind of heritage? What's your kind of background there?
I'm Jamaican and Trinidadian. So my dad is from Trinidad and my mum's from Jamaica.
Yes. I mean, this girl is beautiful, by the way. I know what she looks like. She, one of these people who can just pull off shaved hair. You just got these beautiful features. And I always envied girls who, when I went through a natural hair journey, I had to cut all my hair off and I did not suit short hair. I've got one of them pea heads, so I don't suit it, but you look beautiful with your shaved head.
I'm sure you look lovely.
I don't have the head shape for shaved head, but I do love and envy, that whole 90s R&B look girl and all that kind of stuff. But you look beautiful with short hair. So, I mean, so you said you did a barbering course. So if you can take us through about what does the kind of training involve with that?
So the course I did was with an organisation called Trim It, and they deliver mobile haircuts. So think about Uber, but just with a barbershop in the back of a van instead.
I think I saw that online actually. And they've kind of, have they modified a van or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ah, boom, I've seen that online, yes.
Yeah, so it's literally a barbershop in a van, and then the course they offered was it was 50% barbering and 50% like personal and career development. So they were teaching us about actually how to cut the hair, of course, but also how to brand yourself, how to work on your public relations, how to do customer service, all that sort of the things that go into the business of being a barber, not just the practical side of things. So yeah, it was really good. It was like 10 weeks, and it was kind of impromptu. I believe it was their first course, and it was free as well, so that was good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did they do that van because of what's happening with the lockdown, or was that their business model?
No, that is the model. So they've always been mobile.
And stuff. So, there's going to be a lot of people who are looking really grisly right now because of social distancing, and obviously barbershops and everything is closed down. And
Yeah.
so basically, I mean, if somebody was trying to like personally groom their hair, like, there's going to be a lot of messed up hairlines. What would you kind of suggest if somebody was obviously they wanted to get a trim and they had to kind of do a little bit themselves to maintain it? Like, is there any kind of like tips that you could do for people to just keep themselves a little bit tidy right now?
I think if you're someone who's got short hair, I think it's useful to have a set of personal clippers anyway, just to kind of maintain and clean yourself up in between haircuts. But I would say for the most part, just don't be scared and just go for it, because there's millions of YouTube videos out there. You can just watch a bunch of videos to get the basics, and then if it goes wrong, you're in lockdown anyway. No one can see you. So I think this is the perfect time to experiment with cutting your own hair. My grandpa and one of my friends, they both called me and they were asking me to walk them through how to groom themselves, and it turned out pretty okay. So I think just go for it. There's nothing to lose. You've not got anywhere to go if things go wrong. So yeah, perfect time.
Since the this pandemic is spread and the lockdowns happen, basically, how have you kept yourself kind of busy, seeing as you said that you haven't been able to work?
I think I've kind of embraced the lockdown time because before lockdown I was working quite a lot. Like, my job requires me to work 6 days a week and 10 hours a day. So it was kind of like, oh, this is like a nice breath of fresh air, actually. And it helped me to readdress some of the things that I was ignoring or neglecting from working a lot. So things like the first week of lockdown, I prioritized making my house feel as homely as possible, so that it would be kind of a pleasure to be here in lockdown, as opposed to something that was tiring or draining or frustrating. So yeah, a lot of the time has been spent looking after my house. I'm also started exercising more. Before lockdown, I was always avoiding the gym and saying, yeah, I'll start this thing next week, I'll start jogging tomorrow, and never getting around to it. But now that I'm in lockdown, I've just been doing a lot of home workouts and yoga, and actually enjoying it a lot. So I think hopefully that stays in place after this ends, because that's one good thing that's developed as a result.
So, have you found yourself eating a bit more healthily, or is it the same old diet that you had before?
It's a mixture. So before lockdown, when I used to cook at home, I never had a problem with healthy eating. It was more eating out was a big problem. Because of my work hours, I would just eat out, because cooking at home would just be long, because I'd be getting home late, or I'd have one day off, and it's I don't want to use it cooking. I maybe want to see my friends or take a nap or watch TV. So yeah, I've definitely been able to cook much more than I was doing before, which has been quite enjoyable. Yeah, it's been nice, because I think when you get used to just eating out, you kind of forget how easy the things that you're eating are. They're actually not that hard to make at home. It's just laziness or convenience that makes us not really do it often, I would say.
I think a lot of girls actually that we've spoken to have seemed to have found this more. I'm getting on with the housework now. I'm creating more recipes. I'm actually looking after my body and seeing really good results. So it sounds like, I don't know if you've got any male friends who've kind of have a similar story, or if they got a different type of outcome.
I feel so some of the friends I've spoken to, some of them have been quite experimental with getting in tune with their passions and things that they are interested in. Some friends have been writing, others have been kind of struggling with the loss of routine and I guess purpose that work can give. So I think it's quite a variety of responses from my male friends. But I think generally my female friends do seem to be having like a better time than my male friends for some reason.
Yeah, it's interesting.
What's your view on what's happening around the world and stuff like that? I mean, I've been speaking to a lot of young people and older people, but the young people seem to have a different opinion on a lot of stuff. So what are your thoughts on basically how things have been managed? I've been hearing basically that the economy is going to really suffer. Was this worth it in the end? Or a lot of people are going to be put in debt now, and a lot of people are now suffering from mental health and everything and stuff. You seem quite chilled. You seem like you're all together, but a lot of people out there are not feeling the same because of obviously in different situations. So do you have any thoughts on that?
I know that when things first started, I think it was quite hard to gauge what was going to happen, or the government behaved as if they were unsure of like where the direction of where things might go in terms of how bad it's going to be, what needed to be done to manage things. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure why, because it's not as if we didn't have the example of other countries to look at. Like we saw it coming in China for quite a while. So I definitely do think the government were a little bit slow and just overall not very. They didn't do everything, and they haven't been doing everything that they need to be doing. Even down to like having enough equipment for people that are working on the front lines to be protected. Like that should be a basic requirement. And even that they've been suffering and like not managing to do.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't know. I think that I would like to think there'd be a lot of questions asked of the government and a lot of pressure put on the government to kind of ask them like why the response has been so bad. But I don't know. I don't know how helpful the cycle is of there being different kinds of crises and then the government not responding adequately and then people getting angry and complaining after the fact. It's like, when are they going to learn? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Because
yeah.
I feel like we heard different, like similar feelings in like the government's response to Grenfell, for example, and how it wasn't very effective.
Do you think we got back to normal?
Do you think we will go back to normal?
Yeah, as in like, same as last year, everything will be back to normal, no changes, everything is just calm and everything and stuff. Or do you think there's going to be changes?
I think one thing we might see is changing attitudes to like how we work, and people having different relationships with their workplace, because I think two things I've observed is the first thing being people have noticed that actually a lot of the work that they were doing in the workplace and the hours they were working, they weren't strictly necessary because they're still able to be efficient and get the same amount of work done without being at work and like doing it from home. But also it's allowed them to reevaluate their priorities. Like people are able to spend time with their families now, whereas before they might have had to like be working a lot more than was healthy for them. So I think I don't know if it's a positive or a negative, but one thing would be a kind of a rebalancing, I think, of how people look at their work-life balance. And I think more people will kind of shift away from focusing so much on working all the time and so hard, because clearly, like being in lockdown has required a stripped back approach to life, like just being at home, like survival mode, literally. So yeah, I think that's one thing we might see.
I think you're right. Actually, it's opened a lot of people to what the real priorities are now. You know what I mean, and stuff. And which is, as you say, family, friends, close friends, and stuff like that has become now the forefront of everything now. You know what I mean, because of what's happening and stuff.
So, I mean, you mentioned about China and the government and their approach to this lockdown and everything like that, and you feel like maybe it wasn't bestly managed. So, how are you keeping abreast of kind of how everything is developing? How are you finding out your news sources, and is it something that you're kind of looking at frequently or every now and again?
I've been disconnected for the last week or so because I felt like it was a lot. Like every day there was an update on the death toll, for example, which is of course helpful, but as an individual, I felt like it was just a bit too much.
Overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah. But when I was in touch with things a bit more, my main information source was actually Twitter. So I would just go to the explore part of Twitter, and you would see like breaking news, COVID updates. The people that I follow were quite politically minded, so there was always like I think pretty much all of the information I was getting was already from Twitter. Like before, when there were like updates on the news or Boris Johnson would be coming to speak on TV, I was finding everything out from Twitter.
What do you do for chill time? You know, that chill time when you're not doing yoga, when you're not exercising, when you're not checking out the news, when you just say, you know what, I'm going to completely switch off now and I'm going to just do this. What do you do?
Oh, what do I do? Okay, I've actually started watching Game of Thrones, which I
really?
I tried to watch it before this. I really tried, and I wasn't enjoying it. But I've tried again since this lockdown started, and I'm reading the book as well, and I'm really, really loving it. Wow. So, yeah, watching a lot of TV. I've watched Money Heist. I'm watching Game of Thrones, Peaky Blinders as well. I'm watching and loving that. I've ordered some paints, like paint by numbers. And that should be coming soon, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Doing a bit of drawing, a lot of FaceTime. I spend like a lot of time each day talking to my friends, my family, my little brother, and like catching up with them, spending time with them virtually, if you will. And those have been the main things, yeah. Lots of TV, lots of FaceTime, and drawing.
I mean, that's good. You're finding creative side, healthy body side, healthy mind side. So you're getting a really good balance there, which is good. In terms of obviously as well, you're part of Blackmindsmatter. How did you come to hear about Blackmindsmatter and becoming an attendee, and what did you get out of being there?
So my grandpa is a pastor, and one time, because my grandparents always asked me to come to church, but because I'm not a believer, I kind of resisted a little bit. But one time I was like, okay, fine, Grandma, I'll come. So I came to church, and I met Tanya there actually for the first time. And she was like, she's part of this organisation called Blackmindsmatter. She's recruiting young people to the programme. I think this was maybe the first or the second summer. I think it might have been the first summer of the summer programme. So I went along to the summer programme, and that was really good, really enjoyable. And then I think that was about maybe 2 years ago now. And I've just been part of the journey since then. I'm part of the DV and the yoga programs they have going on.
So in terms of somebody who's never kind of like been there before, can you give us a few examples of what kind of activities? You mentioned yoga, but what other kind of things do you get of attending there?
There's quite a lot of things. So each month we meet and we have like different workshops on a range of different like topics and themes. I really like the ones that are about like stories and storytelling, and like we do a lot of like group games, getting to know each other and learning. Like we have different speakers come in and teach us about various different topics. One that I remember that I really liked was on rap and like politics, or how like rap music has been like used as a site of resistance for the black struggle for a number of decades. That was fun. But yeah, there's a lot of different knowledge sharing, empowering, uplifting, learning about communities, learning about yourself, like a range of workshops to do with like a range of different things really.
We're kind of well into the lockdown basically. Has your perspective of life changed at all? Do you see and view things differently than before, or are you just more or less the same?
I think in some places it's the same. But I think one thing that's been highlighted for me is the importance of like setting your own, not boundaries, but your own priorities in terms of what's important to you and what isn't. I think I've seen a lot of content and stuff that's like, you know, if you haven't built a house by the end of lockdown, then you're a failure, or, you know, that sort of thing. And it's just like, it's really important to decide for yourself what matters to you. Like for me, I don't know, my career isn't, I don't need to learn a new skill, and I guess at any point we can do anything, any number of things, but it's not a thing where you have to do thing X in order to feel like, yeah, I've been productive. Like productivity for you might mean I need to take more time to rest. I want to know what kind of books I like. I want to know what's my favorite kinds of wine or how to cook this dish. Like, we all have very different, I guess, milestones and different things that are important and that we want to work on. So it's good to lean into what you highlight as important for yourself and like stay true to that and not feel pressured to do or be things that other people are saying you should be doing or being. You know what I mean?
Same. What do you value most in life?
Oh, I have like a range of like really important things and like serious things that are like small but important. So for me, music is like essential to everyday life. So music and my family and my friends are so important to me, and like my survival, my happiness. And I guess just like doing things that are that you enjoy, to me is important. Like, because I think this COVID-19 and like being in lockdown has highlighted that so many of our priorities as a society are so, first of all, intangible, but also like they can be taken from you at any time. So if all of your, I don't know, your identity comes from the job that you do, but your job is unstable, or it can be, you know, taken with a natural, sort of like a natural disaster at any time. It's kind of like, I don't know.
That's you gone, isn't it?
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you have to just, for me, what's important is doing things that feel good for me, and not worrying too much about, you know, the future and being, you know, having high status this and lots of money over here. Like, just being joyful and just at peace, I guess, is important.
Nice. That's it. So, I mean, it's good that you know, you're one of these people, you've kind of found the good in what's going on. And
she's high frequency.
She's high vibes, high frequency. Yeah. Beautiful hair and looks stunning as well. So you got it all together, girl. Now, thank you so much for like sharing your stories and all that kind of stuff as well. There's some good things on there to kind of reflect on and see how other people are kind of handling all this kind of stuff. So is there one kind of thing that you would like to leave on a last tip?
I've got a last question for her, actually. You know what I mean? Which would be like, if you could get some changes, what would be the changes for the better? What would you like to see change now that the whole world is on lockdown and now we've all discovered ourselves, our families, our loved ones? What would you like to see change in the ideal world for you?
Ideally, I think I would love a situation where people are paid what they like, and at least at the very least enough to survive. Like, the people that have literally carried us through this situation are the people who have not been paid and like looked after well enough by this, like, not the government specifically, but let's just say the government. Like, I don't really feel as though they've been given their dues before this, and I don't like the idea that after carrying us through this, they'll go back to being neglected. So I'd like to see better pay, a situation where people can afford to live on what their wages are. It doesn't make sense to me that you can work full time and still not have enough to survive. Yeah. So ideally, I think it would be nice to see people that are not having to be so stressed out under such high stress just to survive. It'd be nice for people to be able to take time off work and spend time with family and friends at will, and not have to worry about their bills and whatnot. Ideally, that would be lovely.
That would be lovely.
It would be.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss.
Thank you for those words of wisdom, such young, and lots of good stuff in there to share. So all the best moving forward. Hopefully you can get back to work soon and get everybody's trim.
So how would people be able to contact you and check you out and stuff? Have you got any social media, any websites or anything?
On Instagram, my name is Candace the Angel, and my barbering page is Candace the Barber. So that's CANDACE, and then the Barber and the Angel.
Okay, so we'll drop that information in the box below so that people can find it. Thank you so much. All the best moving forward. Happiness and health to you, and keep up with the good work.
Thank you, guys. Candace. Have a good day. Okay?
Same to you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
So that was Candace, full of beautiful spirit and lots of things that she could share there. So it's good to see that she's getting something positive out of this, and I hope that you guys did too. If you want to leave any feedback, comments or suggestions, please drop them in the comments below. If you want to email us and contact us, then please do so on info@blackmindsmatters.co.uk. Please go to our website. There's lots of resources, videos and articles and things on there. You can also sign up to the newsletter and keep abreast of everything that's happening. You can do that on www.blackmindsmatter.co.uk. If you want to find out the latest government and healthcare guidelines, the most recent up-to-date resources was going to be at www.gov.uk, or you can go to www.wandsworth.gov.uk. Take care of yourselves. If you saw value in this, then please do share it with somebody else. Like, share and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next podcast show. See you later. Take care of yourselves and be blessed. You're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN.